In a world where freedom was a privilege reserved for the few, there lived a woman whose unyielding courage and resilience would shatter the chains of oppression and inspire generations to come. Bridget Biddy Mason was born into slavery, yet she refused to let her circumstances define her. Her remarkable journey, from a life of servitude to becoming one of California's wealthiest landowners and a beacon of hope for her community, proves that no obstacle is insurmountable when faith and determination light the way. Before we go deeper into this powerful story of perseverance and triumph, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more incredible tales of individuals who changed the world against all odds. Born on August 15, 1818 in Hancock County, Georgia, Biddy Mason entered a world that sought to confine her potential from the moment she drew her first breath. Enslaved from birth, she knew nothing of freedom. Her days were consumed with relentless labor, tending to crops, caring for livestock, and fulfilling the unending demands of plantation life. The brutal institution of slavery sought to strip her of her humanity, but even as a young girl, Biddy's spirit was unbreakable. Denied education, Biddy nonetheless possessed a keen intelligence and a gift for observation. These skills would serve her well in the years to come, as she quietly prepared herself for a future she could only dream of, one where she would not just survive, but thrive. Her resourcefulness and resilience hinted at the extraordinary path that lay ahead, even if it was hidden behind the veil of bondage. As she grew older, Biddy's abilities set her apart. She became known for her skill as a healer, learning herbal medicine and midwifery, a role that would later become the foundation of her independence. Her life was marked by unimaginable hardships, but within her was a seed of greatness waiting to flourish. In the 1840s, Biddy's life took a dramatic turn when she became the property of Robert and Rebecca Smith, a plantation-owning couple in Mississippi. The Smiths were devout Mormons, and in 1847, their faith drove them to join a massive westward migration to Utah. It was a journey of over 1,700 miles, a grueling odyssey through deserts, mountains, and plains. For Biddy, the journey was far from a pilgrimage. It was a test of survival. She walked the entire distance behind the Smith's wagon, carrying heavy burdens and tending to livestock. At night, while others rested, Biddy cared for her 3 young daughters, ensuring their safety and well-being under the most unforgiving conditions. Every step was a reminder of her captivity, yet it also revealed her extraordinary endurance. Upon arriving in Utah, life did not improve for Biddy. Her labor was unending, and her dreams of freedom seemed as distant as ever. But in 1851, Robert Smith made a fateful decision to move his household once more, this time to San Bernardino, California. Unlike Utah, California was a free state. Here, slavery was illegal, and whispers of liberation began to circulate in Biddy's mind. During the journey, Biddy met free African Americans and abolitionists who offered her hope and encouragement. These encounters planted the seeds of courage that would soon lead her to fight for her freedom. Despite the risks, she began to envision a life where she and her children could live without fear or oppression. California brought both danger and opportunity. Although the state's laws prohibited slavery, Robert Smith was determined to keep Biddy and her children as his property. The stakes were high. Escaping or challenging him could result in violence or even death. Yet for Biddy, the possibility of freedom was worth the risk. Her chance came in 1856 when Smith announced plans to move his household to Texas, a slave state. Fearing that she would lose her slim chance at liberation, Biddy confided in sympathetic friends who alerted local authorities. What followed was a courageous legal battle that would change her life forever. Despite the danger, Biddy testified in court, stating her desire for freedom. Her bravery was remarkable. She stood up to a man who had controlled every aspect of her life. Judge Benjamin Hayes, moved by her testimony and the undeniable evidence, ruled in her favor. On January 19, 1856, Biddy Mason and her children were declared free. This victory was not just a legal triumph, it was a personal transformation. For the first time in her life, Biddy was free to make her own choices, to chart her own path, and to lay the foundation for a legacy that would endure far beyond her lifetime. For Biddy Mason, freedom was not an endpoint, but a new beginning. Her emancipation in 1856 marked the start of a remarkable transformation from a woman who had been enslaved to one of the most influential figures in 19th century Los Angeles. While many might have felt overwhelmed by the challenges of starting over with nothing, Biddy saw each obstacle as an opportunity to redefine her future and, in doing so, to uplift those around her. After gaining her freedom, Biddy and her daughters settled in Los Angeles, a dusty pueblo that bore little resemblance to the sprawling metropolis it would become. At the time, Los Angeles was a small, diverse community of fewer than 5,000 residents, including Native Americans, Mexicans, African Americans, and European settlers. Opportunities for African Americans were extremely limited, and discrimination was an everyday reality. Yet Biddy's determination to succeed and contribute to her community was unwavering. Biddy's first step toward building a life of stability and independence was through her skills as a midwife and nurse. During her years of enslavement, she had learned herbal medicine, basic medical practices, and childbirth care, becoming highly skilled in her craft. These abilities now became her greatest asset. In Los Angeles, Biddy began working for Dr. John Strother Griffin, a well-known physician. Dr. Griffin, recognizing her expertise, often referred patients to her, particularly women in need of a midwife. Biddy's reputation for competence, compassion, and calm under pressure quickly spread throughout the community. She delivered hundreds of babies and provided care for mothers, earning the trust and gratitude of families across racial and socioeconomic lines. At a time when many African Americans struggled to find stable work, Biddy's income as a midwife allowed her to achieve financial independence. But she was not content with merely making a living. She was intent on building a foundation for the future. She lived modestly, saving every penny she could, always looking ahead to what she could achieve. In 1866, just 10 years after gaining her freedom, Biddy made a bold move that would shape her legacy for generations. She purchased her first piece of property, a modest lot on Spring Street in downtown Los Angeles, for $250. While this may have seemed like a small step at the time, it was revolutionary for an African-American woman who had once been considered someone else's property to now own property herself. Biddy's decision to invest in land was not merely practical, it was visionary. She understood the power of property ownership, especially in a growing city like Los Angeles. Land meant stability, independence, and the ability to create a lasting legacy. Over time, as the city expanded and developed, the value of her property increased exponentially. Recognizing the potential of her initial investment, Biddy began acquiring more land. She purchased additional parcels in strategic locations, becoming one of the first African-American women in Los Angeles to amass significant real estate holdings. Her investments were calculated and forward-thinking. She chose areas poised for growth, anticipating the city's future needs for housing and commerce. While Biddy's financial success was extraordinary, what truly set her apart was her unwavering commitment to her community. She viewed her wealth not as a means of personal indulgence, but as a tool to help others. Biddy opened her home to those in need, offering food, shelter, and medical care to the poor and homeless. Her property became a sanctuary for newly freed African Americans who had arrived in Los Angeles seeking better opportunities. Many of these individuals had nowhere else to turn, but Biddy welcomed them with open arms, providing them with a place to stay and helping them find work. In 1872, Biddy played a pivotal role in founding the first African Methodist Episcopal, AME, church in Los Angeles, the first black church in the city. She donated the land for the church's first building, ensuring that the congregation would have a permanent place to worship and gather. The church quickly became a cornerstone of the African American community, offering spiritual guidance, education, and support to countless individuals. Biddy remained an active member and leader in the church until her death, her faith guiding her every decision. Biddy's philanthropy extended beyond her immediate circle. She was a vocal advocate for social justice and equality, often using her resources to support causes that uplifted African Americans and marginalized groups. She provided financial assistance to schools for black children, ensuring that the next generation would have access to education, something she had been denied. In a time when systemic racism and economic inequality were rampant, Biddy's actions were nothing short of revolutionary. She proved that African Americans could not only survive, but thrive, even in the face of adversity. Her success challenged the stereotypes and prejudices of her era, inspiring others to pursue their dreams despite the odds. Biddy's journey was not without its challenges. The rapidly changing landscape of Los Angeles brought new pressures, including economic fluctuations and social tensions. As the value of her properties increased, she faced the constant threat of exploitation from unscrupulous individuals who sought to take advantage of her. But Biddy's sharp mind and careful management of her finances ensured that she remained in control of her assets. Her deep faith and connection to the community also provided her with a support system that strengthened her resolve. She surrounded herself with trusted friends and allies who shared her vision for a better future. Together, they worked to create opportunities for African Americans in Los Angeles, paving the way for the progress that would follow in the 20th century. By the time of her death on January 15, 1891, Biddy Mason had transformed herself from an enslaved woman with no rights to a self-made entrepreneur, philanthropist, and community leader. Her estate was worth over $300,000, equivalent to millions of dollars today, and her impact on Los Angeles and its African American community was profound. Biddy's legacy lives on through the institutions she helped build, the lives she touched, and the example she set. The First AME Church remains a pillar of the Black community in Los Angeles, and her contributions to the city are commemorated in public spaces and historical landmarks. Her story is a testament to the power of faith, perseverance, and generosity. Biddy Mason not only overcame the unimaginable hardships of slavery, but also used her freedom to create opportunities for others, proving that true success lies in lifting those around us. Biddy Mason's life reminds us that the measure of greatness is not in what we achieve for ourselves, but in what we do for others. Through her resilience, vision, and unwavering commitment to justice, she left a legacy that continues to inspire us to this day.